Are you freaking that out after watching The Social Dilemma? If so, well, I'm a social media manager and I'm going to share some secrets with you so you can reclaim your power back. I'm going to show you 5 different strategies that you can use to go from distracted and manipulated to intentional and enjoying social media. So, as someone who works on Facebook all day long, I know how the algorithms work. I know how advertising works. I know how the dark side of social media works. We all kind of love and hate social media, right? We're on it all the time. We're addicted to it. I don't really need to go over like what we love about social media. But on the dark side, we're freaking horrified by social media because we know we're being manipulated. We're being told to watch this. We're being told to buy this constantly. So how can we fight back? So first of all, I'm not going to wax on about the great things about social media. We know what's great about social media, right? That's why we're addicted to it. We know that it connects us to our friends and family, and it gives us this plethora of news stories and memes and inspiration and funny things, cat videos. We love social media. We don't need to do it any more than we are, right? We don't need to be told the positives of social media. But there's no denying there is a freaking dark side to it. There's no denying that we are being manipulated, we are being polarized, people are being funneled into their little bubbles where all they're hearing is everything that they want to hear, and there's people going way off the deep end onto conspiracy thinking, and it's bad, right? So I want to share with you 5 strategies that I use every day as a social media manager, having to work on social media all day long, that keep me sane. These things will save you time, move you from being distracted to being intentional with social media, save you heaps of sanity. They will remove you from the news feed, remove ads from your feed. They will help you to intentionally interact on social media and in a fun and enjoyable way. And also reduce some of the paranoia that the documentary has covered. So if you haven't seen this documentary, it's a very disturbing documentary that reveals from people that worked at Google and worked at Facebook how social media manipulates us into thinking a certain way, how it distracts us, cuts up our attention, moves us to where it wants to go. It makes some very disturbing conclusions about where social media has brought us. It really, they say, has threatened democracy. And a lot of my friends and people who have seen this documentary are totally freaking out. And they're thinking, oh my God, do we need to delete our Twitter? Do we need to delete Facebook? What can we do? And as someone who works in social media and I spend all my time on Facebook, I have heard a lot of these things before. I kind of know how it all works, but I'm not going to defend it because it's bad. It really is quite bad. And yet at the same time, we're getting on Twitter and saying, have you seen The Social Dilemma? Haha, irony, right? We are all addicted to social media. And it's not doing this just as a reflection of humanity. It's doing it through manipulation. There's no mistaking that. We are actually being manipulated to go further into our bubbles, to read things that are not factually true and that are separating and polarizing us from each other. I don't think social media ever intended to do this, but it's the reality. And unfortunately, social media, it ain't going anywhere. It's like television or cars. It's here to stay. So what do we do to get back to our sanity? How do we do this without just deleting Facebook or Twitter and become like a freaking outcast of society, unconnected? What do we do to manage our mental health? So even though I'm a social media manager, I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I can see what it's doing, but I also love what it's doing. But I've managed to control the distraction that I have with social media and my own addiction to social media through 5 strategies that I want to share with you today. So, as a summary, first of all, the first strategy I'm going to take you through a Chrome extension, which can dramatically change the way that you interact with Facebook. The second one is to talk about notifications and how you can take those little buggers under control. The third one is a new way to interact with your friends and the people that you want to see, where you can kiss the feeds of Instagram and Facebook goodbye forever. Even on Twitter, you can do this on any social network. And then the fourth thing I want to talk about is, what the hell is Facebook doing? There's this kind of demonization of Facebook on the social dilemma. And I just want to address that because I think that it's easy for people to think, Facebook is evil. Facebook itself is evil. And as someone who works on Facebook all day, kind of don't agree with that. And the other fifth thing is I want to talk about digital hygiene. I know it's a wanky word, but it's super, super important. All right, so let's go through number one. The first thing, this is a miracle tool. It's going to save you hours and hours of time. It's called the Facebook Newsfeed Eradicator. It's literally a Chrome extension that you can get. I'll show you what it does. So what you do is go to Chrome extensions and you can just type in Newsfeed Eradicator for Facebook and you install that in Chrome. So once you've got that in Chrome, you can go up here to these three little dots and look for more tools and you'll see it in your extensions here. These are all the extensions that I have. And you can turn it on and off here. Sometimes I like to look at the feed on the weekend, so I'll turn it off. But I usually have that on all the time. And what it does to your Facebook is it replaces the feed with a quote. So that's a little motivational quote that changes every day. If I refresh it, it'll change again. And this one tool, it has saved me so much time because this way, when I go to Facebook, I have to be much more intentional about what I'm there for. Now the second thing, let's look at notifications. We got to get those little buggers under control. You don't even want to have these apps on your phone unless you absolutely have to. So I only have Instagram on there. And when you have them on your phone, make sure that you've got all push notifications off. They're all blocked, so you're not getting anything pushed through on your phone. So that's step number one. Second step, when you're on your desktop, you want to make sure that the type of notifications that you're getting are ones that you want to see. So every time you get a notification, go to the three dots that show up when you hover over it, click on that, and take a look at the options that Facebook gives you. Sometimes it's just to mark as read or remove this notification. Those don't really last very long. Those are just for that post specifically to get it out of the notification feed. Other ones will be for groups, and you can, like, basically any group that you join, you'll get a notification from that group until you turn off that option so that it's only from friends within the group, or you can turn them off altogether. You also might want to turn off notifications about a photo that you put up or maybe a comment that you made on a very very active page or post, and you're going to just get tons of notifications from people that continue to post on that. So you want to turn those off. So just go through every time you get a notification and make sure it's clean and it's reflecting the type of notifications that you want to get, because you want this area to be very intentional. You want to be able to come over here and see the faces that you want to see and the comments on the posts that you want to see or the activity in the Facebook groups that you want to see. So that's my number one notification tip, other than making sure that you go into settings and you're turning all of those push notifications, email notifications off. So that's a little bit more in depth. You need to make sure that you're doing that. But a lot of people don't know that you can actually just clear away a lot of these notifications simply by checking on each one of them. So the third step that I'm going to show you is some real social media manager juju. You will never need to use the Facebook or Instagram or Twitter feed again. I mean, who uses the feed, right? The feeds are crap. They give you everything that you don't want. Recently, Facebook made some change that is putting all these groups in our feed. In November last year, Instagram made a feed that just completely changed how you can't see your friends anymore. You get the same 6 photos of one friend, and they're never in chronological order. They're complete crap, right? Well, here's a little trick that I'll show you how to remove yourself from all that crap. So for this next tip, I'm going to show you how I organize my engagement on Instagram as a social media manager. You can do this on Facebook or Twitter or any of them, but basically you have to do it on your desktop. This does not work for the phone. I don't do scrolling on the phone, because if you use your phone, you're just going to be seeing exactly what Instagram or Facebook wants to show you, right? So open up, log into your social media platform on your desktop, and then do your engagement intentionally and systematically. So what I usually do is I start off engaging with all the people who engaged with my clients' accounts or my account, and I'll right click and I'll open up their profile. I'm going to see all the photos that they've put recently, as well as being able to comment and give them some love back. So that's the first thing I would do, is to go through all of the people that have been engaging with me. Then the second thing is I've got these folders here for my Dream 100. So if you've been following along, you know I did a blog post on what is called the Dream 100 list, and it's the top 100 people who hold the audience that you want to have. But I've kind of expanded it a little bit further, so that I've also got different, that's my spreadsheet there. I've also got folders for target audience, for engaged acquaintances, for new followers that I have followed back, or people that I'm following that I want to check up on. So let's take a look at them. I'll right click and I can open all those tabs in one go. So you could do this for like 20, 30, you know, I sometimes open it so many that I can hardly even see the little Instagram icon. And that's how I'll go through and engage with lots and lots of people very quickly. So this person's changed their handle, so let's just get rid of them. This person's followed me back, so I'll probably put some love into them. This person's followed me back. This person's followed me back, and so has this person. So there you have it. That's how you can engage intentionally with friends or with other brands, with your target audience, with family. You can make folders for all the people that are important to you, and then go in on your desktop and just look at those. If I wanted to open up this 36 tabs here, I could do that. It does sometimes slow down your internet though. I mean, or, you know, it takes a while to load them all up. So you've got to be a bit careful with that. But that's how I engage on social media, and it's intentional and it cuts out all the crap. So if I wanted to look at this feed, just take a look at this. It's a few friends that I love, but then, okay, we've got Vida. So she's a wonderful burlesque girl, but I've got, okay, that's 2 photos of her. That's 3 photos of her. Oh, it's like, you know, I love her, but I don't need to see all 7 of her last photos, right? Like, I want to see the people who've engaged with me, and I want to see, you know, like, or you could go make a tab for influencers or something. Like, you just lose so much time if you try to do engagement according to the feed. And you're going to get pushed more ads as well. So if you do this way, you don't see a single ad. You don't even give ads a chance to come through. So I don't see any ads when I do engagement, and that's a lot less distracting for me. So that's one of your tips for engagement, is to never use the feeds. So the 4th step is that little wanky word, digital hygiene. We've got to practice really good digital hygiene. For me personally, I like to do nearly 95% of my work on my PC. I don't have Facebook on my phone. I don't have Twitter on my phone. I have Instagram, but I hardly ever use it. Maybe just to emergency delete hashtags or change hashtags. But otherwise, I do everything on my laptop because I have more control on my laptop, as I've shown you before. So besides not having these apps on your phone, not bringing your phone into the bedroom at night, trying to keep your phone off the nightstand and locked away in the kitchen or in the office, the thing about digital hygiene is it actually needs to have a lot of self-awareness around it. We're picking up our phones constantly because we want to distract ourselves. It's a bit like emotional eating. The reason why we overeat or maybe drink too much, we're trying to distract ourselves from our feelings or from whatever situation we're in. So in order to practice better digital hygiene, you need to practice more self-awareness. When you grab your phone when you're watching a movie, just think yourself, well, is this movie actually engaging me, or did I think of something where I didn't want to think about that, so I've picked up my phone to distract myself from that thought? The more self-awareness you can bring into your own behavior, the less likely you are to grab your phone when you just need that little extra endorphin hit, that little buzz, right? So that's one way to be a little bit more intentional and hygienic with your social media. All right, now let's get to number 5. Number 5 is the reputation of Facebook. Now, anyone who has worked in Facebook advertising knows how freaking hard it is to get an ad these days. It goes through a review process. You have to be super careful with your wording. You can't really use the word you. Facebook is extremely careful to try to make everyone feel good. So any wording that might come across as not making someone feel good, it gets rejected. So this is kind of a good thing about Facebook that I really want people to know, which is it is extremely hard for anyone to get anything political or on weight or on smoking, any of these ads, they're not going to run. It's extremely hard. So these radical groups and these conspiracy thinkers, they're not able to run ads. They're having to fight the algorithms for organic reach, which is extremely hard. And if you have any kind of content that's a little bit like fake news or gets flagged, it's going to be a lot harder to even get it in a group. Recently, I joined a Facebook group for conspiracy overload, which is basically all of us people who are sick of the conspiracies and we want to kind of understand what it's about. Well, the admin said, don't share anything directly into the group if you think it's fake news, because these things could actually flag the group as spreading fake news, and then we could get deleted. Thousands and thousands of Facebook groups have been deleted because they have been deemed to be fake, to be spreading fake news or conspiracy thinkers. I know because sometimes these are accidents. And in a social media managers group that I'm in, I'm always hearing, my group got deleted, and well, what were you posting? Well, we were sharing this and this, and well, that goes against the terms of service. It happens a lot. The other thing is, I personally was trying to run an ad years ago when I was new into advertising for a hypnotherapist who was helping people to quit smoking. It was impossible for me to get these ads running because of the word smoking. So even though she was helping people to quit smoking, we couldn't run any ads that said the word smoking. So I just want people to know that Facebook they are getting better. I mean, look at all the fake news covers and, cutting down on politics. They're not quite as evil, I think, as the documentary made it out. I know they're really slow, but I personally believe that they are onto this. It's just that things have moved really fast. Things have turned out in a way that nobody anticipated. And it's going to take some time. It's also going to take some public pressure. So I'm fully behind the movement to make social media more ethical. And I think that the more and more that we talk about how we need to change social media, the more we can start to cut down on the bullying, the conspiracy thinking, the fake news, all the crap that's on social media. Hopefully, eventually social media will be the tool that we want it to be to bring us together and to give us truthful and factual news, and all the crap that's happening now will be reduced. So if you're someone who is maybe making a living on social media like I am, or you're a freelancer, or you're stuck at home and you're using social media a lot and you want to learn more about the ways to have digital hygiene, to learn advertising, or more of these social media manager juju tricks that I've shown you today, I invite you to join my Facebook group, Marketing for Creative and Unconventional Women. In there, I'll be talking more about this, as well as how you can learn how to advertise and build an online business without getting too distracted and caught up in the bullshit on it. So click the link above or below this video to join, and I'll see you in there. Thank you for watching. Before I go, I just wanted to add a couple of resources for people who want to know a bit more about where social media is going that I have found since I recorded this video, which is I found an interview between Yuval Harari, who often talks about the dangers of AI, and Tristan Harris, who was in The Social Dilemma, by Wired magazine. This interview, I consider it was even better than the documentary, because they both go into some of the more positive things that could come out of social media and how that could come about. So I recommend this if you're feeling really down about social media now. It actually lifted me quite up, because I thought there is a future for us in social media, rather than it tilting everything toward conspiracy theories and sensationalism, which is the main problem that Tristan Harris brought up. Another article that I highly recommend is in The Verge magazine. Telling people to delete Facebook won't fix the internet. This highlights that it's not all about the algorithms. The real problem with social media and online is actually the trolling and the people who are getting on there just making the worst of it. And we saw this in 4chan and 8chan, these forums where people are they go wild and they get really, really nasty and really disgusting. Algorithms are not going to change that. Right now, algorithms are part of the problem, but the trolling and the pedophiles, or all the crap that goes on the line, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. So we don't want to get too caught up in thinking that it's just social media. This is also a human problem that we need to look at. So there's some interesting questions there, and I highly recommend that interview and that article in The Verge.